I've got a 8-bit Eric with me today, and today we're going to be discussing Eric's gaming memories and all things gaming related.
Hi, thank you for having me. How's it going?
It's going great. So maybe we could get started. Maybe you could just give us a quick summary of your channel and how you got started on YouTube.
Okay, well, let's start with the second, the latter. When I first started watching YouTube, I think I didn't start actively looking at the website until probably 2007, maybe about 2007. So YouTube was around for a couple of years, and at the time, I didn't really know that there was people that would make content on the website that was like for reviews or anything like that. At the time, I would just occasionally look at it to watch like humorous random videos. Um, and my first experience looking at it was actually on my Nintendo Wii when the YouTube app was on there. And I just noticed one day on the homepage that I was recommended a video by Irate Gamer. So it's kind of funny because people, it was Irate Gamer, started watching that, and I was like, oh, well, these are NES games that he's talking about. And at the time when the Wii was out, retro gaming wasn't at its popularity again. It didn't have that resurgence yet. It didn't have like where people were going out and looking for the old video games and collecting. It was still a new thing. The virtual console came out and everybody's like, wow, you could download the old Mario games and stuff again and play them on the Wii. And after watching a few of his videos, I got recommended AVGN's videos, started watching him, and then I got recommended Gaming Historian, and then Happy Video Game Nerd, who's stopped skeletons from fighting right now. So those were like my first four experiences watching people on YouTube. So I started to watch, mostly Irate Gamer and AVGN, and I was always like, man, that would be so much fun to make a channel one day and do YouTube. But at the time, it wasn't as easy to make videos, even like 10 years ago. Cameras didn't have, they weren't easily accessible as they are. Like today, everybody has a cell phone or a computer with a decent camera, or computers are so much accessible. The editing software is so much easier now. So at the time, I didn't do it. Probably like in 2010, I tried my first attempt at doing a video, and basically what it was me pointing my crummy, like horrible cell phone camera. It wasn't even a smartphone yet because there wasn't any out there, but I was just pointing my cell phone camera at my TV screen and recording gameplay footage. And I just kind of carefully spliced the video together with Windows Movie Maker, and that video is no longer actually public on my channel. But then I took like a break, and right a few months later, I started to do it because I got a capture device. I got a better laptop or a computer, and I had a regular like standard camera. So I started doing some kind of like inspired reviews of like AVGN and Irate Gamer and stuff like that, where I was talking retro games. And shortly after that, that's when I started having a Discord with like back and forth commenting on videos with Billy from Game Chasers. And that's how we met. We started watching each other's videos and commenting. And I made a parody of one of their videos. And then we met up. And I think even before their first episode came out, they came and filmed the episodes that I was in for the first time. And from there, I just started taking it a little bit more serious because I started getting subs off of being on their episodes, and I was sticking with retro for a while. But then the Wii U came out, and I started to cover that, and then Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. So now I think I cover mostly modern stuff, mostly Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, but I do once in a while cover retro stuff. I've kind of changed more into a Let's Play channel right now, only because there's just too many games coming out to sit down and focus on a full-fledged review for like every single game. Some games they're small enough to where you can do a 20-minute Let's Play, and then there's some games that are like you really got to sit down and play them, like a Final Fantasy VII remake and even a Resident Evil 3 that just came out, Trials of Mana. Also, like this last month, I had so many big games back to back: Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy 7, Trials of Mana. I can't even think of what else came out, but I was just like, man, it's very time consuming. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you're just playing video games and this and that, but to sit down and give a fair assessment of a game in a review form takes quite a lot of time to digest and to prepare and to get the footage alone and to edit it and sit down and stuff like that. So I've been leaning more towards Let's Plays and streaming content just because I feel it's more natural for me.
Right.
I'm going to play the game anyway. I feel like I'm not in a rush to rush a video out and get a review that's not even kind of fully thought out, because to me it just feels more natural for me to play a game and talk to people that are watching my stream and just kind of be more relaxed about it than having to worry about, oh man, this game comes out Saturday and I need to get the review up as soon as possible, because it just seems that the landscape has changed where everybody's just rushing videos out, and I didn't want to get to that point. I just want to have fun with it, even if I'm not getting as many views as other channels get. My focus is I just like to put stuff out there. I've always been that type of person. It doesn't matter if it's a video that people might think is not really relevant or good or anything. I just like to just to throw stuff out there and make it on my own. It's like my own hobby. YouTube's not my full-time job. It's not what I do for a living. It's not what I rely on. So it's something that I enjoy doing, and as long as people want to watch, so be it. And sorry for that long-winded answer.
No, that's perfect actually. And I was gonna chime in there and say I have noticed like a lot of your reviews, I refer to them as casual reviews. Like,
yeah,
they're very chill. You're playing the game, and just as you're playing, you're doing a review. It's very casual.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, the other way to do it is very like 20 times more time consuming, where you have to selectively pick your shots and editing, and especially if it's an RPG, 100-hour RPG. Well, you've got to go through the entire game and selectively choose what scenes you want and make a giant.
And I'm honestly impressed with some people that do it, but you notice that they don't cover near as many games as channels that do similar to what I do. Like, I'll cover a lot of games. Sometimes I'll do 3 different videos in a day, and sure, they're not the best high quality. Sure, they're probably just Let's Plays or whatever, but you see channels that do maybe 1 or 2 videos a week. They're only really covering the big games out there. I've always liked indie games. Even when the Wii and the Wii U were out, I was covering indie games on my channel. But it's impressive to see what some people can do, like Completionist, just to see how much he plays 100% of every game that he covers. That's impressive. Like, me personally, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I watched a video of his recently. I think it was an older video, but he was playing Pokemon Pinball, and he had to, as part, because it's a pinball game, as part of the completion aspect of it, he had to get the high score. I was just laughing at that. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And I do want to mention one other thing. You probably are aware of what the most popular video on your channel is. Have you ever taken the time to look at that? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Fine Bros?
Yeah, the Fine Bros video. Yeah. I always laugh at that. I watched that when it first came out. It's obviously it kind of put you on the map a little bit. I think it got you a lot of.
I think out of anything that's ever happened on my channel, that's probably been the most. And unfortunately, it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, because like literally overnight, I went from less than 10,000 subscribers to almost like 30 or 40. Like, I gained like 20,000. Yeah. It was on Reddit, front page Reddit, not just on Reddit trending. It was on, if you go to reddit.com, it was like on the front page trending. It was fourth number 4 on trending on Reddit. And I didn't expect that to happen. I literally just made a video saying, these guys just said they're not blocking videos, but they blocked mine. I wasn't trying to really stir up trouble. And in hindsight, I kind of feel bad, because who knows, what if I don't even. I think maybe everybody's moved on from it, but at the
Yeah.
time, it was a pretty big situation that came out of nowhere, and the internet, like so many websites covered it. Like I had an Excel sheet of links of every website and every YouTube channel and everything that ever covered it. And I was like, man, I'm gonna, like, at the time I was like, should I capitalize on this? Should I milk it more? Should I just keep going? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna just accept it, move on, because I could have just milked it and stuck with it and complained about them more, because you see people doing stuff now that over strikes and stuff, they just get upset. They're like, oh, this guy striked my channel, and they just egg it on for months and weeks. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to move forward, just ignore what's going on with the situation and stuff like that. But I did end up getting a whole bunch of viewers that subbed to me out of that have not watched any of my content since. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
you have 60,000 subscribers, and the majority of them don't watch because they only subbed because of the Fine Bros incident, or because they came from something else. So it's very frustrating. It's a double-edged sword, but that's subs and views never correlate anyway. Because if you look at like a channel like a PewDiePie, he has
That's right.
100 million subscribers. He's not getting 100 million views every video. I mean, he only had he live streamed today on YouTube, and he only had like 152,000 people watching him. So it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't correlate, and that's one thing that a lot of people get misconception on, is the algorithm also serves videos based on certain engagement criteria and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but to me, it's not about the views. If it was, obviously, I wouldn't be putting out indie game videos out on,
Right.
every day.
Oop. Uh, I just want to make a comment. I think what made that video so go viral essentially was because of how
Uh-huh.
funny it was. Like you were pissed, and
Oh yeah, I
it
was
came out
livid.
like it was legit. You were pissed, and it was funny. Like I'm gonna react to every single video they make, and it was
Yeah, at the
just
time
funny.
I
Yeah.
at the time we had a website, and I was like, I'm just gonna upload everything on there, and
Yeah, I
it,
still laugh about it to this day. I
yeah, it
rewatched it.
was
I went back and rewatched it. It's great.
yeah, it was a once in a lifetime situation that happened. It was crazy, because that definitely got big, and then it went flat. Like, internet's so fickle. They were in an uproar for that week, but then the next week nobody cared anymore.
The news moves so quick, right?
Yeah.
It's in for a couple of days, then it's gone. Nobody ever talked about it ever again,
Hmm.
right?
Indeed.
Okay, so let's move on to maybe you can tell us how did little Eric first get into gaming? Like, how did you find out what a video game even was?
Well, I have an older brother. He's about 5 years older than me. So my first experience with games was through him, and his. We have a cousin that's about the same age as him. So lots of times when we would go over, we would play his games, or when he came over, he would play our games.
Wait,
Um,
what console was that in particular?
well, the NES, the Master System, the Atari, those three were like the
So all
earliest
of
ones
them.
I can
Okay, cool.
remember.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think my brother had an NES originally, and then he traded it in to get a Master System, and so we had the Master System. My cousin had the NES, and I always remember wishing like Punch Out and Duck Hunt were on the Master System and Mario, but they weren't. But some of my earliest memories were like with some of the early Master System games, like Astro Warrior, the Ninja, Alex Kidd, Wonder Boy. Uh, Safari Hunt was the Zapper version of Duck Hunt on the Master System. So we play those, and then when we go to my cousins, that's when we would play the Nintendo stuff. And then eventually, when I didn't get to really play as much because they were older, and of course they're going to hog the systems. So whenever my brother would go to school, that's when I would play it without him knowing. And eventually, I got my own NES. I think around when I was in kindergarten, got my own NES, and even though I couldn't beat any of the games to save my life, I was always playing on that thing. And I remember I had like 11 NES games until the Super Nintendo came out, and I traded that in. Um, for whatever reason, back in the day, my parents were like, "Well, you have a regular Nintendo. You can't have a Super Nintendo too. So if you're gonna get the new one, you gotta trade it in or pawn it off to get the money to get the new one." And I was
Oh,
like, "All right," but they let me get a Game Boy, so it was kind of like I had the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo. So yeah, I what's weird is I was always like, man, I kind of wish I never got rid of that. But eventually, you buy your own stuff when you grow up because everybody's into that whole recapturing their inner child and stuff like that. And now I have more NES games than I ever thought I would as a kid. I
I'm
only
the
used to
same
get
way. Yeah.
games. Yeah, I used to only get games for birthday and Christmas, and that was it. Unless there was something really, really cheap, like something that was on, the bargain bin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
I
was.
I was gonna say I used to get most of my games from the bargain bin. The
Mm,
old used games at the local Blockbuster, or in my case,
mhm.
Rogers Video, which was Blockbuster competitor.
Yeah, I think once the Super Nintendo started to phase out, I remember like the Hollywood videos, the Blockbusters, the KV toys, and all them. They would have like a $20 bin in the front of the store, or $20 or less. So like I would go to KB once a week, and I would get to pick a Super Nintendo game that would be like, they weren't the best, like Tasmania and Ranma One Half, and right, that's actually how we got Musha back in the day for the Genesis. It was in a $20 bin at like a KB Toys, and then now, fast forward 20, 30 years later, it's a hard to find Genesis
It's a
game.
hidden gem
But
now. Yeah.
and then once I started getting to like high school and middle school, and uh, started getting my own income, I would go on my own time to the pre-owned section of the rental stores and buy like the Nintendo 64 and GameCube stuff, and just get those games. And people are always like, well, how did you get so many games? You're rich and this and that. And no, that's almost 30 years of buying games and keeping them. It's you other than getting rid of my NES, everything I've had since the Super Nintendo, I've hung on to. It's like that's my whole life. That's the reason why I have it still. It's like it's memories, it's mementos, it's gifts, it's Christmases, it's birthdays. It's not just, oh, I'm some guy wanting to show off his stuff in the background of his videos. It's who I am as a person. I've been playing
Right.
video games since I was like 3. So it's like, I don't know. I don't get it sometimes.
I kept everything myself, like every console video game I ever owned, except for one. I had to repurchase everything, which was my N64. For some stupid reason, I sold everything for $20 back when it was considered worthless, like 4 controllers, Smash Bros, Double
Hmm.
O Seven, Zelda, everything,
Yeah.
everything, $20 for the whole
Yeah.
package.
Well, see, and it was weird because like I go back to when the Wii came out, retro gaming wasn't really in. Like I remember I used to be able to go to Goodwills, thrift stores, garage sales, pawn shops. I would see NES stuff like nothing. Full Nintendos, tons of games, Atari stuff. I would see everything everywhere. And at the time, it was never a thought. It was just like, oh, that's the old stuff. Where's the Wii? Where's the PlayStation 2? Where's the, this stuff? And I would say probably when like between the N64 and GameCube coming out, I actually kind of fell out of gaming for like just a little bit because I was like in eighth, ninth grade, doing sports, doing dating girls, just playing, with my friends, going out, just being like a teenager. And I just kind of like noticed myself. So I know a lot of people around that era, once you get to a certain age, like in our age group, it's like, yeah, I got rid of my N64 and this and that just because you really didn't find yourself playing them anymore. And then it's like you get the newest system, and then it's like, man, I wish I could go back and get this. And it's strange how things worked out because I don't know. Luckily, I'm for the most part, other than just like a couple years of my teens, I've always been into gaming.
What's your your personal favorite genre? Do you have a certain genre that you is your go-to
Oh man,
genre?
it really depends, honestly, on I would say right now I prefer open world games that are pretty big, expansive, that feature like crafting elements, um, slight RPG, slight RPG stuff like a Fallout or Skyrim or something like that. Breath of the Wild, uh, big hits like that. But at the same time, I also prefer. Um, it just depends what I'm in the mood for. Like I like shoot 'em ups, I like beat 'em ups, I like platformers, but big huge releases that seem like real expansive excite me. Like the other day, the Xbox Series X presentation happened, and that game, The Medium, it was like that psychological horror movie game that came out. Um, I think that's going to be a big open world type of game from what I saw on it. That's the vibe
Right.
I was getting. I like stuff like that. Um, just time consuming games that or just give you a lot of hours to play. I don't know why. I just do.
Like Red Dead Redemption, would that fall under
Yeah,
that category? Yeah.
yeah, GTA, things like that.
Um, so I would say most people have like one, two, maybe even three games that they played growing up that they just sunk like hundreds of hours into that had an impact on their lives. Do you have
Uh,
one or two games like that?
well, on the NES, it was definitely Mario 3, and on the Super Nintendo, I would probably say Link to the Past and Star Fox. N64, I would probably say Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and Star Fox 64. GameCube was like Paper Mario and Mario Sunshine and Wind Waker. But yeah, like NES easily is one that I find myself going back to if I want to pick up and play, like a Mike Tyson's Punch Out or a Mario 3, just quick go to games. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna play something, pick it up, and that's also why I like Switch Online is because you have Mario 3 and Punch Out on those. You can just pick it up and play it anywhere.
Right.
But my favorite game of all time is Ocarina of Time. So that one took me a couple of years to 100% complete, but I just had so many memories actually playing through that game. The hype leading up to that game was big. So many video game magazines were covering that thing. I remember there was always like sneak peeks and screenshots and previews of that game for like I would say a good solid 2 years before it came out. And I just remember like going to the grocery store to read, the latest news on them. The internet was in its infancy, so I would try to look at websites that had information on it. And when that game came out, I was just amazed at how big the game felt compared to like A Link to the Past. Because the jump from A Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time was humongous, like huge. There probably will never be another generation jump between the 16-bit era to
Right.
PS1 64 era. That was just so huge. So it was amazing, and that game alone shaped so much of what I like about gaming and the Zelda series right now.
Do you have any you might have to dig deep for this. If you can't think of anything, that's okay. But do you have any like funny rage stories? You remember could be a rage story playing four-player games with friends like couch co-op or
Most
online.
most recently have been with games like GTA 5 and Red Dead because the way they set up some of those missions, if one person dies or somebody messes up and fails the mission, like everybody gets booted out. And I know when they did the Doomsday heist that came out a couple years ago, there's just one part where you go inside of like a building and you go into like an area where there's a whole bunch of servers, and the enemies in there are just so strong that like you got to shoot them like 20 times to kill them. And one of our friends gets a little too inebriated when he plays games with us, and it's so frustrating because you're trying to tell him, "Hey, go this way. Hey, don't do that. Hey, come on. Hey, do this," and you just can't communicate with him. It's almost impossible. And then the screen flashes like orange and blue and it's like, oh great, somebody died, and you got to go through the whole cutscene of mission failed and restart, and it's just like, oh my god, to the point where you kind of just like disconnect and hope he doesn't get back on. Like we'd be like, hey, get back on in 20, maybe he won't be on, and it's like that. It's more like that. But yeah, in the past, not so much with retro games with other people. I find it more like rage quitting happening now with online gaming. Like just the other day, I was playing on Streets of Rage 4 with somebody, and this guy just like got all pissed. He got on the mic and he's like, "Hey, do you have a mic?" I'm all like, "I didn't answer. I didn't have a mic." And he goes, "Why did you grab the apple when I needed it? I have less life than you. And why is everybody stuck at this game?" And he just got like so heated, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, it doesn't matter.
And what a strange game to get heated on. Streets of Rage? Like, what?
Yeah, he was mad that I took the fruit because he had less life than I did.
That's
and
hilarious.
I've seen people get like that in real life. Like I've played beat 'em up games with like Jay from Game Chasers, and he's like, "Why'd you take the fruit, man? I needed it." And it's like, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna die. So
that's funny. I there's certain games that that you expect rage, like Call of Duty, guaranteed.
Yeah, sports games mostly.
Your League of Legends,
Fighters.
your Dotas, like those are known rage games, but a Streets of Rage, I just find that funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else have I got for you here? Oh, have you been following the Intellivision Amico by any chance?
Not really. In regards to that, I haven't really been paying attention. I saw like the gameplay trailer that came out. The main thing that I've experienced with the Intellivision Amico is last August I went to Southeast Game Exchange in South Carolina, and the developer of the original Ecco the Dolphin was there, and he was at the table right next to us, and he had a demo of the new game that it's like Echo, and
Right.
It's going to be on the Amico, and I got to check it out a little bit, and I had fun personally playing that one.
Is that
I wasn't playing on an Amico controller or anything. It was an Xbox. It was like one of these Xbox PC controllers, but he was developing the game, and I personally liked it.
did he?
I don't. What's going on?
Did he say if it was going to be an exclusive for the Amico?
I believe it is an exclusive for the Amico.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think Earthworm Jim, the new Earthworm Jim, is going to be exclusive also.
Holy crap!
Now, I've seen mixed reactions to it and stuff. Me personally, I'm excited for it. I kind of want to get one just because I like gaming in general. Like I wanted to get a Google Stadia, I still kind of do, even though people are tearing that apart. I want to check it out and look at it. I know some of the games I saw in the gameplay video trailer weren't the best looking. Some of them looked kind of like Flash games almost. But I like to look at things in a bigger perspective with indie development, like the WiiWare. When Wii first came out and WiiWare came out, that was more of like a foot in the door for people that are making games to get their company out on a platform for people to see. Like your first game is never going to be what you're always going to make. So even though it's shovelware or something basic or whatever, it's still getting your foot on the door. It's still supporting indie developers. It's still helping gaming grow. It's still giving people experience and getting their work out there. So I think for another console to be out there, sure, the Amico might not be the most powerful thing out there compared to the next generation that's coming out, but neither is the Switch, and the Switch has plenty of fun games. I think, to me, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of veteran developers and veteran employees of Amico. I've heard Tommy say there's people who worked on this game and did this and have this much experience. Who knows? I'm gonna definitely keep my eye on it. I'm interested in it, but I honestly haven't been keeping track of news of anything, not just the Amico, but like I haven't paid attention to anything about the next generation. Nothing about the PS5, nothing about the Xbox Series X. In fact, the Inside Xbox just 2 days ago was the first thing I've even checked out in regards to the next generation. So I'm pretty much out of the loop, honestly, as far as gaming news goes.
I've been following the Amico just a little bit. Like I'm not hardcore. Like you just taught me something new. I didn't know before, but
Yeah,
my understanding is the creator knows its niche because a lot of people are bashing it, but I think it's
mm,
really interesting and heck, I
yeah.
might even get one. But he
Well,
knows he knows it's
sometimes
niche.
niche, yeah, sometimes niche is good.
Hmm.
Like you know, everybody complains. Why don't people try something new? Why don't people try something different? You see it during E3 when people are like, oh, all these games are first person shooters. They look exactly the same. It's all just a whole bunch of clone games, and everybody wants to be Call of Duty and Fortnite now. And it's like the minute somebody tries to do something different, and it's like, oh, let's do this approach, make it simpler games, make it no DLC, like literally everything gamers ask for, no microtransactions, no DLC. You don't need internet and all this, and then people, you're not going to make everybody happy no matter what. And I think that's the one thing that um, you should just forget about if you're going to make a new console out there. Is just don't worry about making everybody happy. Worry about making your niche happy, and if people hear good things, the best type of advertising and promotion is word of mouth. And if you're making your base consumers happy, then it'll grow from there.
Right.
Everything starts as a niche. Not like Pokemon when it first came out, it wasn't this big phenomenon that it is today. It was a little group of people. As a matter of fact, I remember when Pokemon came out, and that was the nerdy thing to like. Everybody's like, "Oh, you like Pokemon? That's so nerdy." And oh, you're playing with the trading card games and all that, and even video games. Like I remember as a kid, if you like comics and video games and Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, you used to get made fun of. Like in fourth grade, I liked Power Rangers, and I used to get made fun of. And now nostalgia's in, and everybody likes all this stuff. Star Wars was another thing that nobody liked except nerds, and now you have girls of like all ages that are into it.
Yeah.
And you have like everybody seems like they like Star Wars now. It's times change,
It's
so it's like
it's
I
true.
don't know.
Nerd culture is now like the most popular culture because
Yeah, it is.
I too remember getting made fun of for playing video games. I was the big video game nerd, and I
Yeah,
got made fun of for like an X-Men. I was a big X-Men fan, and I got a
hmm
lot of
yeah,
slack for that. Like, oh,
yeah. Who
you
cared
like
about?
you
Yeah,
like
nobody cared about superhero
X-Men and
stuff.
mutants,
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
yeah.
Like, they're
Nobody cared.
cool.
Nobody cared. And then growing up, it was like the X-Men and Spider-Man were the superheroes to like, and then when the MCU came out, all the characters nobody gave a crap about when we were kids became the popular ones. Nobody cared about Iron Man.
That's so true.
Nobody
Yeah.
cared about Captain America. Nobody cared about Ant-Man. Nobody cared about. I never even heard of Guardians of the Galaxy until the stupid movie came out.
Same here.
And
Yeah.
I like it. I like it, but nobody cared about Thor really. And it was like all these random superheroes from Marvel that they never used in the movies before. That's why they were able to make the movies because nobody had the rights to those characters. And now everybody cares. Like I remember no females cared about comics, and then when Disney started making the MCU and all that, and they had all these movie honks as the stars, now everybody likes it.
And
So
nowadays they can make a superhero movie on any superhero, and it's gonna be
yeah,
cool. Like it's
like
good.
like Black Panther.
Yeah.
Nobody ever watched him. Nobody watched you know I again
Oh,
like Iron Man. Now they're making a series of Bucky and War Machine, or was it Bucky and the other guy Falcon?
oh,
Uh, yeah, they're making
yeah,
that. WandaVision. No, like no Black Widow. No, nobody
yeah.
cared
Black.
about
Nobody
those
even knew who
characters.
Black Widow was before the Avengers, right?
Yeah,
Before the movie, specifically the movie.
yeah,
Yeah, and and even Miss Marvel. Like the only
yeah,
reason I even knew who she was is because she was part of X-Men. In the X-Men
yeah,
cartoon, Rogue stole Miss Marvel's powers and put her in a coma. That's the only reason I
yeah.
knew who that was.
Yeah, I remember everything. I don't think I recall gaming being laughed at until like Mortal Kombat started to get at its peak, and then everybody started being like, "Oh, Mortal Kombat." To me, that's how I recall it. And then it was like, the tail end of the 16-bit era. It got popular. 64 PS1 area it was gaining steam, and then by the time the PlayStations and all that started coming out, it was okay. And then now it's like everybody games.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would agree with that. I noticed, I would say around the PS1 and the N64 era is when, like, the kids that I knew, the friends that I had that were the non-gamers, that's when they started getting into gaming. Is around that era. They started realizing, hey.
Yeah, the niche started growing. Like think about RPGs before the PlayStation 1 era. You know, like Final Fantasy VII helped put it on the map. It helped mainstream it. It helped, you know, not many people played Final Fantasy games. You know, the one on the Super Nintendo and the two on the NES, or the one on the NES, or however it was, because it was mixed. RPGs were still a thing that nobody really cared about in North America. You know, it was a niche back then. RPGs were, you know, like I remember Dragon Warrior, or Dragon Quest when it came over here as Dragon Warrior. Nintendo promoted it big. They had like the free game giveaway, the map, and all that, because RPGs just weren't as mainstream. And now almost every game has RPG elements in it now.
Oh, that's so true. So that's a good point.
Stuff changes. So in regards to Miko, I think people should just, if you're not interested in it, don't be interested in it. But it's okay to be a niche.
One last question for you, Eric. Have you played Garfield Furious Racing?
I have not. Is that the one that's on Switch?
It's
there's a Garfield kart racer on Switch.
Yeah, there's an older Garfield kart racer. It was originally for the DS. And there's a newer one. I think it must be on Switch. I mean, it has to be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I think I just saw James and Mike do James and Mike plays on a Garfield racer on the Switch.
That could be the one.
Like 2 weeks ago.
That was probably the one.
I haven't played it, but I've seen a Garfield kart racer recently. The other one that I want to check out is the Nickelodeon kart racer. I heard good things about that one, actually.
Oh, okay.
The Nickelodeon kart racer one. Crash Team Racing, that one's kind of, it feels like everything's rubber banded. Like no matter how far ahead you get, the NPC is always going to be riding on you. Sonic Racing All Stars, the newest one, that one was okay. I like Transformed a little bit better. And then I played like a horrible one. What was it? Beach Buggy Racers or something like that. It was so bad.
Sounds
Nothing beats
awful.
Mario Kart. Nothing beats Mario Kart, though. Mario Kart's going to be the king. And they're overdue a new one. They are overdue a new one.
Which one was your favorite of all the Mario Karts?
I think 8 is so great that they basically haven't made a new one since.
Yeah, they made it twice. It was so good.
Yeah,
they re-released it.
Yeah, DLC, and it just included DLC and a real battle mode. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to if Nintendo said, here's 8 new tracks for $15.
Right.
Get 8 new tracks and a new mode, and I'd be like, that's all I need. I mean, 8 new tracks, maybe like a new mode and like 4 new characters, and I'd be happy.
And that'll be a tough one to top just in general. Like, so if they did come out with a brand new Mario Kart, like,
yeah, they'd have to do, like, they'd have to make the races bigger, like be like, okay, 32 people can race at once. And
oh yeah, that'd be crazy.
They'd have to do that. They'd have to add like double roster. They might as well just make the Smash Brothers roster onto the Mario Kart roster.
Hey, they could do that. I'm sure they could. They just,
they might as well.
Yeah, you know, I mean, maybe that's the future. I'm sure they're working on something behind the scenes.
Yeah, they might as well, because they got access to those characters for Smash, which Smash is another, like, I'm not a big Smash Brothers fan, but that game is just outrageous to this point with how much support it still gets. I swear 3 years ago, the guy that made it, Sakurai, was like, no more characters, this is it, I'm done, not adding any updates. And to this day, it's like, oh, a new battle pass is coming out with 7 new guys, and it's like, wow, you know, they're not ever gonna finish this game.
And they can add essentially like an unlimited amount of characters just by going and licensing more franchises, right? Just approach.
There's stuff on there. There's stuff on there that I would like. The only unfortunate thing is a lot of the trophies, the assist trophies and stuff that are on there, are characters that I would have liked to have on it. Like I would like a Bomberman to be a character. I think it would be fun if they started doing random characters like the Double Dragon guys,
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
make them.
Or
You know,
heck,
maybe even some of the Punch Out characters would be cool. Like they have Little Mac already. Why not throw King Hippo in there, or any of the random characters that were pretty memorable.
they could even get some of the Streets of Rage characters.
Yeah,
There you go,
throw
right?
some more Sega guys in there. The Golden Axe guys, Streets of Rage guys. Throw Alex Kidd in there. Throw another Sonic the Hedgehog character. And then Konami. They finally threw Simon in there and stuff, but I'm sure there's other stuff like the Contra guys. They could throw in the Contra characters.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Maybe even another Street Fighter character. They have Ryu in there. I wouldn't mind seeing like a random Street Fighter character or another Capcom property. Like throw like a Final Fight character in there, or a Resident Evil character in there, or
Yeah, and they did.
I think,
Remember Marvel versus Capcom? You know, they had Resident Evil characters in fighting games before.
I think Wesker was one of the characters in one of those games.
Yeah, I remember
Cool.
Jill Valentine, I think it was, in Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm excited to see what everybody has everything in store. I think Sony's kind of taking a poker approach to things right now. I think Xbox is going to come out swinging for sure this next round. I'm still on the fence as to which console I'm going to get first. Right now, I think I'm leaning towards the Xbox.
I'm in the same boat.
But I think majority of my friends are PlayStation biased, so they're going to be getting that, and I want to obviously be able to play with my friends. So I'm like, do I get the PlayStation, or do I get? To me, it's whatever one has the best backwards compatibility. That one is huge for me. Backwards compatibility is probably takes precedence over exclusives to me. I don't care too much about exclusives. If a game that I'm playing is available on everything, I'm going to get it anyway for whatever console I like. So I think exclusives are a necessity, but to me, in this day and age, backwards compatibility is everything. If I'm able to have one system to play, and I've heard rumors of, I don't know which one it was, if the Xbox was going to work with every single Xbox generation, like you could put original 360 and Xbox One in there, that would be phenomenal. Because I have a whole bunch of Xbox original games I haven't touched in forever, because I don't have I don't leave all my systems out. I just use whichever ones are the current.
Right.
And that's the one thing I liked about the Wii, is that it had GameCube attached to it.
Yeah, like when I got my Wii U, I sold my Wii because the Wii U is backwards compatible with the Wii.
Yeah. If it had the GameCube still on that would have been awesome, though.
Yeah, I wish it
did. If it had the Wii, that would have been phenomenal.
I still have my GameCube because it doesn't. But if it did, I would have sold my GameCube, like the physical console.
And GameCube was such a great console, man. It's a shame. I think the thing that held it back the most was just it felt too gimmicky, I guess, to the normal like hardcore gamer. But I think it was such an underrated, underappreciated console.
Yeah, I've noticed the prices are going up for the games on the GameCube, because it is gaining popularity.
Yeah.
People are realizing it was kind of a hidden gem console. It wasn't
I think
very
Mario
popular.
Sunshine. I think Mario Sunshine is like a pricey game now.
Yeah, it is.
Last time I looked, I don't even remember. I know it was trending. I was like, what the heck? Like why the heck is this going up in value? And I think Paper Mario is another one, and I think Pikmin 2 was high priced at one point.
I noticed Paper Mario is really expensive now, because I sold mine a long time ago. I was stupid. I sold it for $25. And now,
I mean, we all make mistakes like that.
Anyways, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, man.
This is awesome. I love picking your brain. And nice to see the retro games are still popular.
Yeah,
to this day.
Thanks.
All right. I wish you the best in the future. I have no doubt your channel will keep growing. You're doing a good job. I notice you stream a lot more now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, most nights after like 10 p.m. Central, I'm multi-streaming too. So I'm on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter all at the same time.
Oh,
so
dang.
you can catch me on any of those at any time after anybody watching this. Most nights, give or take. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like just kind of relaxing tonight and just binging on Netflix and stuff. But it's been fun streaming.
All right, maybe we can chat again sometime.
Yeah, anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.